So now, okay, you find a deal. Somebody says, "I want to sell my house." Blah blah blah. You got your first lead, but you don't have 20 grand cash in the bank. Like, where?
You will wholesale it. Do you guys want to know my wholesale version?
Yeah, I'd be curious to know a little bit about that, because I mean, if the deals are out there, and if there's avenues and ways that you can, like obviously wholesaling, that you can make money without having to buy with your own cash, then yeah.
Okay, so if nobody has any objection, I am going to explain how we wholesale pretty much almost guaranteed. We get a lot of wholesale deals, and we notice that nobody does it this way. If you guys are interested, let me know, and I can explain it to you. I don't want to bore anybody else though.
I'm interested.
Definitely interested.
Absolutely.
Okay, check this out. Okay, it's going to be scary in the beginning, but just give it a chance. Let me just finish talking, okay, before you freak out.
Okay.
So, several things of a background story that you guys need to know before we go into the story. Okay. You need to spend money to make money.
Right.
Okay. Rule number 1: you're an investor. What is the definition of investing? The definition of investing is you spend $1 and you make 10 in return. That's what you do. So why are people so afraid to spend money? Because they don't have it. And the little bit that they have, they will not want to spend it. So what do? They do direct mail marketing. They do cold calling. They do door knocking. They do abandoned signs. Why on earth would you do that? I will tell you why people do this. People go to BiggerPockets, and they're new, and they see Jack over there. He got to deal with abandoned sign. Oh my Lord. And then James over there, he too got to deal with abandoned sign. And Anne over there, she got it with cold calling. And this dude over there, he got it from a text message. What do you conclude? Well, I'm going to conclude that, sure, these are not ideal ways to do it, but it works, right? These people get deals. So all I want is just one deal, and then I will do it the right way, right? Well, guess what? Let me shed some light on what they're doing. And keep in mind, I'm still talking about how to wholesale, but you need to understand this first, okay, before you understand the wholesale thing. Imagine I have a truckload of apples. Yellow apples, green apples, orange apples, purple apples, red apples, whatever. I am going to take all the red apples out, put them into a bucket in front of me, and I'm going to burn and destroy all the other apples on this planet. And then I'm going to look at my bucket with red apples. I'm going to conclude all apples are red. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make sense. Because obviously not all apples are red, because I just threw away all the other apples and I just put it under the carpet and nobody knows about it. But not all apples are red. I am drawing a conclusion based on the criteria of the selection I made. Obviously, it's always going to be true. Okay? Let me turn back into the real example of BiggerPockets, for example. The reason why people use this free method is because of the same reason. They only select the people that they saw are successful, and they're going to draw a conclusion saying, oh, it works. But that's the wrong conclusion. It's the wrong data. It's the wrong everything. What you should be doing is take just one person and then ask them, okay, you got to deal with the abandoned sign. How long have you been doing it for? They will tell you, oh man, dude, I've done this for 3 years and only now do I get a deal. Is it still a good method? No, obviously not. Right. You can't only take the successful people and then say it works. And what you also have missed is all the 3 other billions of people that tried it and didn't work, but you never heard from them. That is why people are doing these free methods. Now, let me translate it into English. They are saying this. Yes, I know abandoned signs are not ideal, but I'm going to do it because I just want one deal. And once I get the deal, I'm going to do pay-per-click and Facebook ads, the ways that really work. And then I'm going to do it the right way. Okay? Translated in English is as follows. I'm going to try a method that does not get me paid to get paid, so that after that, I can do a method that gets me paid. That is exactly what everybody is doing. It sounds ridiculous when you put it into English, but that's exactly what everybody is doing. Guess what? If the free methods worked, why would anybody try to do the paid methods?
Exactly.
Okay, now that you have the background, step number 2. What does Nike do? Nike does pay-per-click. See the AD? AD means pay-per-click ads. What does Apple do? Apple does pay-per-click ads. What does Nike, Apple, Samsung, Levi's, Sony, they all do pay-per-click. Why? You know what? If Apple thought that door knocking was a good idea, they would have hired an army of Oompa Loompas and they would knock on people's doors and get them these things sold. But they don't. Why? Because it does not work. It's not reliable. It doesn't. If they want to do this, they could. They have enough money to do it. Apple does pay-per-click. Why? Because it is guaranteed to work as long as you have 2 criteria. Look at this awesome effect. Criteria number 1, you need to have the right budget. Criteria number 2, you need to target the right audience. If Nike is going to target people without any legs, they're not going to sell any shoes, believe me. The right audience, the right budget. Okay? Now we're going to begin with our how to wholesale story. Here is how you're going to wholesale 1 billion deals a second, like clockwork. Okay? Step number 1. Again, it's going to get scary. Don't get scared. Just hear me out. You're going to hire an expert in pay-per-click or Facebook ad, what may have you. You're going to pay him $1,000 for the pay-per-click or whatever. Okay? Then you're going to hire somebody to do your SEO for you or with you. And you're going to pay him $2,000 to do that for you or with you or whatever. Now, you have spent $3,000 from the get-go. But what did you get in return? You got 2 experts. What is the definition of an expert? Well, that expert knows what he's doing. That means the expert pay-per-click guy, he will target the right audience and he will tell you what the right budget is. So are you going to make leads? Yes, you're going to get guaranteed leads. Guaranteed. That's step number 1. By the way, when I started, I had to pay $5,500 in my first direct marketing campaign. So $3,000 is nothing in the world of lead investing. Okay, so you're going to get a bunch of leads because you hired an expert. You're going to take that lead, wholesale that lead, make $10,000. And now you're going to say, oh, wait a second. Come on, that's a huge leap of faith. Here's why it's not. You are not going to wholesale like everybody else does it. What does everybody do? They'll get a lead. They negotiate with the seller until the seller will not budge below a certain number. And then they will sign that contract based on the number of the seller's choosing. And then they're going to struggle and hump and find a buyer hoping the contract will sell. That is exactly what you're not going to do. That's what everybody else does. That's what you're going to do. You're going to make it a golden rule to not sign a contract unless the contract is signed on a number that works for you. If the number
say that one more time.
You're not going to sign a contract unless that contract will be signed on a number that works for you.
Okay.
If they do not accept your number, you shake their hand and you go to the next lead. That's it. Here, it's why it's more than likely that they will accept your number. Here is how. Before you negotiate with the seller or go anything with the seller, you find out the ARV, the after repair market value. You're going to find out the cost of repairs. You're going to find out what your back-end buyers' profit margins are. You're going to find out your back-end buyers' criteria. By the way, Bruce, I am recording this, so you can always listen back to it, okay? So don't worry.
Okay.
So once you have all these numbers figured out, you can easily find a number that works for your back-end buyer. If you know that the back-end buyer wants 30 grand of profit, you know exactly, you know how much repairs the house needs. You know exactly what your maximum offer should be, right? So That number is the number that works for you. Now, here is how you're going to make the seller accept that number. Check this out. You're going to tell the seller that you're going to wholesale that deal. You're not going to buy it. You have zero interest in buying it, and you're going to wholesale it. Do you know why the seller is going to accept that? Because you will tell the seller this: I am a flipper. When I buy your house, look at the comps. All the comps in your market say open floor plan kitchen, granite, brand new refurbished floors, a new paint job. My expenses are going to be very, very high because I'm going to flip that stinking house of yours. However, I can also give you a second option. Let me wholesale that house for you. I'm not going to buy it, but just like I am a flipper, there are other investors that are buy and hold investors. They are not going to put granite countertops. They're not going to finish the house. They're going to paint it. They're just going to put a renter inside, and they get passive incomes. They can offer you a lot more because they have a lot less expenses. A whole completely different model. So how about sign that contract for just 4 days? I will send that contract out to all my buyers. If nobody buys, if nobody jumps on the contract, I will know within 2 or 3 hours if it's a good deal or not. I will know immediately. If I see that 4 or 5 investors are interested, then we already are 100% sure that that a deal will come out of this. It's a good deal. Then we can extend the contract for 2 more weeks. What do you have to lose? If they say no, what is their other option? They have to go with an agent. It's going to be 6 months instead of 4 days. Do you really think that the seller is going to say, nah, I much rather get a lower offer and save 4 days? No, they're not going to say that. Of course, they're going to say, yes, I'll give you 4 days. Let's see what happens. You have been completely honest, completely transparent. The seller is loving you by now. Mm-hmm. Because every other experience they have had from other investors, I guarantee you, are slimy, sneaky, selfish little vultures. So they will love you. Look at my reviews. There. Check this out.
Read can this. Can you zoom in a little, please?
Say again?
Oh, there you go. I was going to ask if you can zoom in.
Okay, I'll read it to you. You couldn't find a more honest man than, or a sweeter person than Jessica Roman to help you get the absolute price for your and dispose of a home not sold through a realtor. You will feel as if blah, 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 blah. When they came to my home, they explained exactly how they arrived at the offer and determined my house wasn't in a condition that would make it beneficial for me to accept their cash offer. Pretty much, I told her the house is in very good shape. Okay, there's not much we can do to fixing it and repairing it. Rather than just leave it at that, when they knew I felt uneasy about making repairs and marketing the house, they offered it out as a wholesale purchase for rental at a higher price than they could give me. While we didn't get any buyers through that offer, I did end up selling the house through a realtor for a profit. But even once he knew he wasn't going to make a dime on my transaction, Gerald continued to provide help, blah, 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 blah. So here, I told them we're going to wholesale it. It didn't work. She gave me a 5-star review. Right. And she invited me for wine. She had mentioned that she's going to invite us for wine because she's also happy with us. So, have you ever seen a wholesaler get praise for not being able to get the deal sold? When I am telling you that your seller will love you for being honest, the seller will love you for being honest. So, where were we? You're going to go to the seller. You're going to tell the seller, hey, yo, mommy, we are not going to buy the house. We're going to wholesale it. I already explained to you why they're going to say yes. Now, here's the thing. You are going to be very, very, very transparent. You're going to give them a scope of work of all the things that need to be done to the house. okay? For a buy and hold or for a flipper, doesn't matter. You're going to make the seller aware that new kitchen is not $3,000, it's $17,000. That a brand new bathroom is not $500, it's $5,000. That to refinish the floors, it's not $2 per square foot, it's $6 per square foot. They receive, you give them a very clean looking sheet with all the cost of repairs and whatnot. You give them the comps so that they can see why you arrive at these repairs. Because if all the other houses have open floor plans, you need to get an open floor plan, otherwise you can sell the house. They will look at the cost of repairs and their mouth just drops open. They cannot do or say anything. You cannot argue with the numbers because the numbers are right. They will see that the price are real, legitimate, and they're totally realistic.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if the seller says no, what are they going to do? Find another buyer and go through the exact same spiel again, and magically the other buyer is going to give them double the price that you offer? Of course not. If the seller doesn't believe you, you wipe out your phone, go to HomeDepot.com, type in appliances, show them in their face that the new set of appliances is $3,500. It's not $1,000. They have no option but to say yes if they are motivated. If they're motivated, they will say yes. If they say no, then what do you have to lose? Nothing, because they were not motivated in the first place. That is how you get the contract signed. Guess what? Once you have a contract signed that is already pre-approved by your back-end buyers, how long do you think it's going to take you to get that contract sold?
Because it's already, so since it's already pre-approved, it doesn't take long at all.
Exactly. If your buyer says, yeah, let me think about it, guess what? There are 30 more buyers that are eager to buy the contract from you because nobody has leads. Everybody wants leads. You come up with a contract that's already pre-approved by every buyer out there. Of course, you will jump on. You're probably going to have a bidding war. You will get that contract sold within a day. So again, you're going to get leads. You're going to wholesale that lead, and you're going to make 10 grand. Easy as pie. Now, what you're going to do next? You're going to double your marketing budget, and you're going to spend another $2,000 for your SEO guy. So you made $10,000. You spent $3,000 in the first round. You take the $3,000 out of the $10,000, put back into your pocket. You broke even.
Say that. Slow down on that again. Say that again.
You made $10,000. You spent $3,000. So you take the $3,000 out of the $10,000, and you will break even. You have $7,000 left over. Out of the $7,000, you double your marketing. You have $5,000 left over. Out of the $5,000, you spent another $2,000 on your SEO guy. You have $3,000 left over. You're going to do the exact same thing again, and now you have $3,000 extra in your pocket. How many leads are you going to be making? Well, at least 2 deals you're going to be making because, like I said, pay-per-click is scalable, it's reliable, it's predictable. You spend $1,000, get you 1 deal. Guess what? $2,000 will most likely get you 2 deals or more. So now you're going to make $20,000. Guess what? Doing one method once is sheer dumb luck. Doing the exact same method twice with a scalable input gives you double the output. That's called a system. Now things become fun. Now you're not spending a single cent out of your own pocket to make more money. Your money is making you more money. So now you're going to spend $7,000 into marketing. How many deals you're going to be making? A lot of deals. Let's say you make like 80 grand. Now you're going to stop. You're going to hire a team, hire an ecosystem manager, hire a receptionist, and not proceed until you have a team in place. Now you're going to spend 30 grand in marketing. You're going to be working a lot less because you have a team in place. You're going to scale up like a real company, and you're going to crush it. It takes a normal startup company between 4 to 6 years before they are a standalone company. First, they borrow money. Then they scale, they grow, they hire. It takes about 5 years or so. What did you do? You started growing, scaling, expanding, and nurturing the company from day one. Well, guess what? You do it again and again. And one day, you go to your email and you see something like this. and say, what the heck? Well, guess what? You've been doing it for 5 months now. You've religiously hired somebody for your SEO. Now you're ranked number 1. All your leads come in for free, highly qualified leads. You stop all marketing, your ROI skyrockets. That is the power of the forced traffic and conversion strategy. That is how we do it.